Our conditions slipping back to mildly bearish in this bull market. Had a bit of a retracement here on S&P 500. Nothing too significant, but we've been talking about some of these trends as they are developing. We're seeing momentum shifting back down out of that bullish location. Also seeing breadth starting to move back this direction as well. We're seeing sentiment holding up, but it has been relatively light, not at its peak, where we're seeing that divergence. We're seeing price moving higher, and we're seeing that sentiment line move lower. That is of concern at these levels. And we're also seeing buy-sell ratio starting to shift to less than 1 now. We've got a bearish crossover here where we've got bears in control, at least in terms of the buy-sell ratio. We're seeing a decent retracement here in S&P 500, although we did see a pretty nice bounce right at this support bar. You can see where we got that bottoming tail bar happening right at this area. So there is demand still at these locations on S&P 500. We're starting to get this trend shift here. That is part of the reason why we went to mildly bearish. Is we've gone back into the hold range. We're getting short-term trend down. But the bullish side of that is we know that we have to allow for some of this volatility to happen. We just never know if that volatility is retracing or to continue the uptrend, or ultimately if it's going to break that trend and start to move lower. So we want to start using some caution when we start to see some of these trends starting to break down a little bit as they have been doing. The sectors, let's take a look here at sectors. We're seeing that starting to shift now. We're only on to 3 of these sectors in bullish momentum uptrend, the rest in hold or sell, and you're seeing that short term also starting to roll over to the shorter term downtrend. Something to be aware of, again, just confirming the breadth of this current rally starting to soften, starting to weaken. We are seeing silver continuing that big run. Had a pretty good retracement yesterday. We talked about those gold and silver areas being in that extreme that can allow for a bit of a pullback. But again, anything inside of this extreme range, we're just looking for it to pull back into that buy zone without necessarily reversing the trend entirely. It gets a little bit overbought. It's going to have that natural volatility that we want to allow it to have before we're looking at a reversal or getting out or getting stopped out, things like that. SLV, keep an eye there. Gold also getting a bit of a retracement, pulling back from that extreme back into or close to that buy zone, and that's just a natural correction. Be watching for that 247 area if we do see gold pulling back even more so. And let's take a quick look at bonds as well. I keep forgetting that one. We'll jump back to that though, because it is of interest right now. It's one of the concerns happening in the marketplace right now, where we have bonds moving lower, which means interest rates are moving higher. And I believe we have some economic numbers coming out today or this week, and some inflation numbers and economic numbers. Those are the two economic reports to be aware of. That's moving the bond market. Ultimately, it's going to move the stock market, but we're seeing this TLT retrace almost the entire move that it had from July and August now at this point. So the market not really looking to see the Fed cutting anytime soon. It's appearing. We're seeing SHY the short end of the yield curve also pulling back, watching for support. If we see that slide back down underneath this 82.38 range, we could see some continued sliding here in bonds. But take a look at some of the muscle stocks that we're looking at today. A couple of ideas for you to consider. DBD, which is Diebold, a nice bounce off of support, continuing that in that overall momentum zone. Some confirmation there as well on that buy signal. And also DOC, which is Health Peak Properties. They are a real estate investment trust in the health space. A nice confirmation move here, breaking out, solid bar, increased volume in that momentum zone. A good looking price pattern there for DOC. That'll do it for today's update. Everyone have a fantastic day today.